God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Psalm 46 verse 1. In the midst of the world's noise and the trembling of circumstances, my presence remains like an indestructible wall surrounding your life. No matter how strong the storm may be or how violent the winds that blow against you, I am the refuge that never yields, the rock that does not move, the shadow that covers the weary. Even when everything around you seems to collapse, my protection extends over you like a shield that no force of darkness can pierce. When the voices of doubt want to dominate your mind, remember that I am the one who guards your heart in perfect peace. Fear may shout, but my voice is louder. Uncertainty may knock at your doors, but I dwell within you with eternal certainty. No enemy, no crisis, no chaos can snatch you out of my hands, because in me you have a safe refuge. I do not move with the changing tides of this world. I am eternal, unchanging, firm. When the waters rise and the rivers overflow, I raise a banner in your favor. When the ground trembles beneath your feet, I uphold your steps with my faithfulness. My covering does not depend on circumstances, because I was your protection before the storm formed, and I will continue to be your defense when the sun shines again. The plans of men may fail, human structures may crumble, but my promise to be your strength remains forever. I am the one who guards your coming in and your going out, your present and your future. No chaos is too great to keep me from sustaining you. No darkness is so dense that it can hide you from my outstretched wings. You live under my shadow, and nothing can snatch you away from there. Do not fear when you hear the roar of thunder or when you see lightning crossing the sky. My arm is not shortened and my hand does not grow weary. I am your strong tower, your secure fortress, your shelter in the coldest night. If the whole world shakes, my faithfulness remains unshakable. If the sea roars with fury, I hide you in my calm. If the voices of panic try to dominate you, I whisper deep within your soul, I am here, I will not leave you. Remember how I kept my people in the midst of the desert, how I sustained them under a pillar of cloud and of fire. In the same way I surround you in your daily walk. It is not a distant refuge, it is a constant presence. It is not a temporary help, it is an eternal shelter. I neither rest nor get distracted. I watch over you every second. Your heart may feel downcast, but I am the strength that lifts it up. Your mind may fill with questions, but I am the certainty that responds with love. Your spirit may be weary, but I am the breath that renews you. There is no place where anguish can imprison you that my light cannot penetrate. There is no wall of despair so high that I cannot tear it down to rescue you. When the news fills your mind with fear, remember that my word is more secure than any voice in the world. When you feel that everything around you is collapsing, I remain your firm foundation. When you think there is no way out, I show you that with me there is always an open path. Do not seek refuge in that which can break. Rest in me, who am eternal, who am unchanging, who am your strength. The enemy wants you to believe that you are unprotected, but he cannot touch you beyond what I allow, and even what you face will be used to show you the greatness of my power. I turn what seemed ruin into testimony, what seemed defeat into victory, what seemed chaos into miracle. Nothing escapes my control, nothing surprises me, nothing can break what I have decreed over your life. Even if you feel your strength fading, I am the one who upholds your arms. Even if fatigue clouds your vision, I am the one who opens your eyes so you can see beyond the moment. Even if the storm drenches you with its fury, I am the shelter that keeps you dry in the depths. For it is not your ability that sustains you, it is my faithfulness that covers you. Chaos does not define your destiny, I define it. Crisis does not have the last word, I have it. The winds may blow strongly, but I am the one who tells them how far they may go. The rivers may try to overflow, but I set limits to their waters. All creation is subject to my voice, and my voice is what decrees protection over you. When others seek shelter in what is temporary, you will know that your shelter is in the eternal. When others rely on human strength, you will know that your strength comes from me. When others tremble at what they see, you will know that I guard you because of who I am. Because you do not need to understand everything you face. The only thing you need is to trust in the one who never fails. I am stronger than your fear, greater than your doubts, firmer than your insecurities. Even if the enemy rises like a wave, I rise like a wall. Even if the world fills with noise, I am the peace that rules deep within your heart. Even if it seems there is no way out, I am the open door that no one can shut. Every night that seems endless has a dawn, and I am the one who brings that dawn. Every storm has an end, and I am the one who commands it to stop. Every chaos has a limit, and I am the one who sets that limit. You are not a wanderer in the midst of disaster. You are a child covered under my wings, a beloved held in my hand, a protected one surrounded by my glory. I walk with you in confusion, I remain at your side in uncertainty, I am your security in the unpredictable. Nothing can erase the truth that you are guarded by me. Neither the winds of despair, nor the earthquakes of anguish, nor the storms of doubt can remove you from my covering. For I am your refuge in the midst of chaos, and I will never abandon you. Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth, shall you not know it? I will even make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. Isaiah 43 verse 19. When your eyes can only see walls blocking your way, I unfold paths where none existed. When life seems to have cornered you with no way out, I design a path that breaks logic and defies reason. No barrier is too great, no chain too strong, no maze too complex for my hand to open with a single movement. The desert may seem endless, with its burning sand and empty horizon, but I am the one who turns the barren into fertile ground. Where there is no hope of life, I command springs to burst forth. Where everything looks dry, I make the impossible bloom. There is no dryness that can resist my voice, no emptiness I cannot fill with abundance. Remember how I opened the sea before those who thought they had no escape. The water stood like a wall on each side, and my people walked through on dry ground. That was not a story meant only to be remembered, it was a sign of who I am and what I continue to do. Even today, when you think the waters are closing you in, I part them to show you that with me there is always a way. Your thoughts may tell you there is no way out, but I am not limited by what your eyes see or by what your strength can achieve. My decrees go beyond the natural. I speak and nothingness becomes fullness. I command and the impossible bows to my will. When I say you will move forward, no obstacle can stop you. When I declare you will live, no force of death can prevail against you. The desert is not your end, it is the stage where I manifest my power. Where others see only loneliness, I cause companionship to spring up. Where others see ruins, I raise up new beginnings. Where everything seems stuck, I stir movement. Each step in the sand may feel heavy, but each footprint of yours is guided by my hand. Even if the sun burns and the dryness overwhelms, I send clouds of covering and dew of hope. The sea is not your tomb, it is the place where I show my glory. Many look at the waves and feel fear, but I walk upon them as Lord of creation. For you, what seems a limit to others is a platform where I reveal that nothing can stop me. And just as I opened the waters in ancient times, I keep parting what rises against you so that you move forward to what I have promised. Do not be deceived by what they call impossible. That word does not exist for me. Where men write a period, I write a new beginning. Where the world says there is no solution, I draw alternatives invisible to human eyes. Where others see walls, I see doors. Where others see prisons, I see liberation. There is no power on earth, no force in heaven, no spirit in darkness that can cancel what I have decreed for your life. My word is fulfilled, my promises rise as banners, and my faithfulness has no expiration date. What I have spoken over you will remain firm even if the whole world rises against it. I transform dryness into abundance. What seemed dead comes to life under my command. What seemed lost becomes found. What seemed closed becomes open. This is how I work, because my ways are not man's ways, nor are my thoughts the thoughts of the flesh. What is for you a dead end is for me the hallway to victory. When you cry out in the midst of anguish, do not think your words are lost in the wind. I gather them and turn them into seeds that sprout into miracles. Even if the process takes time, even if the days feel long, my answer comes at the perfect moment. Not because I delay, but because I prepare a path higher than the one you expected. The tears you shed in the desert water the dry ground so that it blooms in its time. The sighs you lift in the midst of pain turn into fragrances that reach my throne. Nothing you go through is in vain, because every step in shifting sands I turn into a firm footprint upon rock. The river that seemed unreachable will spring up before you. The fields you thought were barren will be filled with fruit. The path that seemed erased will be drawn clearly before you. I do not leave you trapped. I do not lock you in alleys. I guide you with my mighty hand to the land I have promised you. Even if voices say there is no hope, remember that I am hope itself. Even if eyes say everything is lost, I am the one who raises what seemed fallen. Even if strength says you cannot, I am the one who makes possible what seemed unreachable. No human decree can override my eternal decree. I am the one who commands the dry to blossom, the one who commands the sand to produce, the one who commands the sea to open. And I do it not only to show my power, but to remind you that you will never walk alone. Each step of yours is backed by my faithfulness, each decision of yours sustained by my grace, each struggle of yours covered by my victory. The desert does not limit me, the sea does not stop me, the dryness does not intimidate me. I turn what others call loss into a stage for miracles. And when you think there is no way out, you will see that I have already prepared a way that no one can close. So do not fear if today you do not see solutions. Do not worry if the horizon seems empty. Do not think you are trapped with no escape. I am already working on what your eyes have not yet perceived. I am already opening paths in the midst of nothingness. I am already making rivers spring up in the dryness. I am already drawing a future where it seemed there was no tomorrow. Your story does not end in a dead end. It ends in an open horizon. Your life does not fade in dryness. It blooms with abundance. Your journey does not stop at the sea. It advances on dry land. No circumstance has the power to chain what I have released. No crisis is stronger than my decree. No chaos can prevent my plans from being fulfilled. Because when I say I open ways, mountains flatten, seas part, deserts are transformed, droughts turn into torrents, and all creation responds to my command. Nothing can resist my voice. Nothing can stop what I prepare. Nothing can cancel what I establish. Just as spring comes after the coldest winter, so my intervention comes after the hardest drought. Just as flowers bloom even among stones, so I bring life even among ruins. And just as rivers find their course deep within the earth, so my promises find their fulfillment deep within your story. Move forward without fear even if you do not see the path. Trust without reserve even if you cannot see the horizon. Walk with confidence even if the sea seems to block your way. Because I open paths where there are none, and my word is enough to transform your impossibility into an eternal testimony of victory. He gives power to the faint, and increases strength to the one who has none. Isaiah 40 verse 29. When your hands tremble because they can no longer hold on, I am the one who places my strength in your arms. When your voice grows silent from so much crying out, I put a new song on your lips. When your knees give way and you think you will fall, I lift you up with power that does not come from you but from my presence. You are not destined to live exhausted, because I am an inexhaustible source of energy, a spring of life that never runs dry. Your heart may feel weak, and your thoughts may repeat to you that you cannot go on, but my voice rises above all weariness and declares that there is still a way, still life, still victory. I do not measure your strength by what you feel, but by what I am able to pour into you. Even though the weight seems unbearable, I carry what you cannot, I hold what threatens to break you. Weakness is not your end. It is the perfect ground to show you that my power is made perfect when your strength is no longer enough. There where your resources end, mine begin. There where your body grows tired, I breathe new life. There where your soul is exhausted, I ignite hope. You are not sustained by what you are, but because I am the one who renews every fiber of your being. Think of the eagles that rise in flight. They do not strive to keep flapping their wings forever, but they spread their feathers and trust in the currents that I myself send. So you too, instead of struggling with what you no longer have, will learn to rest in my wind and let me lift you higher. It is not your strength that determines how far you will go. It is my hand that sets your height. Your days may feel heavy as if dragging invisible chains. I break those shackles of exhaustion and replace them with garments of strength. Each morning I bring a new dawn with fresh strength that does not come from the flesh but from the eternal. When you think you can no longer rise, I will remind you that each day comes with a renewed provision of spiritual energy. Do not fear the fragility of your body, For even when the external wears out, I strengthen the internal with heavenly vigor. Even if gray hairs mark your head, your spirit can run like a youth in my presence. Even if your step is slow in the physical, I place within you the agility of a warrior. For my strength is not measured in muscles but in a heart filled with me. When discouragement visits you, remember you are not condemned to exhaustion. I am the one who fills your cup to overflowing. I am the one who pours fresh oil upon your head. I am the one who multiplies what seems scarce in you. You look at your limitations as a wall, but I see them as the door through which my power enters. Your mind tells you that you are defeated, but I say you are in the process of being lifted up. Your heart feels that no energy remains, but I pour invisible streams that restore the depths. Your body cries out in weariness, but I declare there is still a road to travel and I myself will be your strength. Remember how David faced giants that seemed invincible, not with his own strength but with my backing. Remember how Gideon, weak and fearful, was transformed into a deliverer because my power covered him. Remember how Elijah, exhausted in the desert, ate the bread I sent and with that provision walked until he found purpose. So you too, though you feel weak, will be renewed in the inner being to continue. Do not despise your weakness, for in it I am glorified. When you say, I can't, I respond, yes you can because I am in you. When you feel your energy is gone, I ignite new life. When you think you've reached the limit, I take you beyond what you ever imagined. Your weakness is not a sign of defeat. It is the invitation to see my strength work without limits. When your tears weigh more than your breath, I turn them into fuel for resilience. When fatigue makes you stop, I whisper vigor deep in your spirit. When the night is long and your body can do no more, I am the one who brings true rest, rest that is not found in a bed but in my peace. Look at how the rivers advance with force, even as they find stones in their course. So you too will flow because I keep your current alive. Observe how the sun rises each morning without fail, so your strength will be renewed without ceasing. Behold how the trees that seem dry turn green again in the appointed season, so your life will receive a renewal that changes your inner landscape. Fatigue will not be your teacher, I am your teacher. Weakness will not be your identity, I am your identity. Exhaustion will not write your story, my power will write it. When others think there is no way for you to rise again, I will show that with a single touch of my spirit you run again as if you had never fallen. And even when you lack strength to pray, I read the depths of your heart. Even when you cannot lift your hands, I take yours and raise them toward heaven. Even when your words fade, I translate your silences into cries before me. Nothing you go through hides your need for me, and I respond with supernatural strength. The mountains that seemed impossible to climb will be conquered because I will give you legs firm like a deer's. The valleys that seem too dark will be crossed because I will be the lamp that lights each step. The burdens that seem too heavy will be lifted because I will be the shoulder that holds them with you. It is not the first time weariness has tried to defeat mine, and it has never won when I intervene. Through the centuries I have shown that no weakness can resist my renewal. To the downcast I have clothed with vigor, to the broken I have filled with courage, to the fearful I have turned into conquerors. So it is with you. You will not remain on the ground because I will lift you up. You will not live prostrated by fatigue because I will revive you. You will not stay trapped in exhaustion because I will breathe new air into you. Each day will bring the certainty that my mercies are new and my strength does not run out. Look ahead without fear because even when you feel you cannot continue, I will be the energy in your walk. Look to heaven with confidence because from there comes the help that strengthens your bones. Look within yourself and you will find that you are not empty but filled with a power that does not come from you but from me. I renew your strength in weakness. I make you strong even when the world sees you fragile. I lift you up when everyone expects your fall. I fill you with life when everything seems to go dark. And when you remember this moment of weariness, you will see it as the testimony of the day you understood that my strength in you never ends. For you will light my lamp. The Lord my God will enlighten my darkness. Psalm 18 verse 28. In the midst of the darkness that looms over your life, when it seems that all light goes out and the path is lost in dense shadows, I remain as the clarity that never fades. Even when you feel that faith weakens and doubts try to smother your trust, I take your trembling hands and place firmness in your heart. I will not let you fall into despair, because my light is stronger than any shadow, and my presence dispels all that tries to sink you into the void. When your thoughts torment you and make you believe you have been forgotten, I remind you that my eyes never turn away from you. Even in the deepest darkness, I walk by your side, and my voice breaks the silence that suffocates you. I uphold your faith like one who protects a small flame from the wind, because I know that even the faintest glow can ignite again if it remains in my hands. Do not fear the night of your trials, for within it I prepare a dawn that will be impossible to extinguish. In every storm of doubts, I am the lighthouse that points the way. Even though confusion surrounds you and you don't understand the reason for your struggles, I invite you to rest in my faithfulness. Your faith does not depend on your human strength, but on my hand that sustains you. I lift what seemed broken, I restore what seemed lost, and I make bloom within you a renewed trust that defies the darkness. Remember that even the shadows obey my voice. There is no corner of your life that remains beyond my reach. I penetrate the most hidden places, those where you keep fears and wounds that no one knows, and there I ignite my light so that no chain of fear can keep you bound. I am your certainty when everything else fails, and my truth becomes your guide when men cannot give you answers. Many around you may say that your faith is fragile, that your hope is broken, and that you will see no way out, but I whisper with power, I will not leave you. Every time your voice is silenced by exhaustion, I sing over you melodies of life that renew your spirit. Every time you feel you walk without direction, I mark your steps with footprints of eternal purpose. Do not think that darkness is a sign of abandonment. At times I allow your eyes not to see the immediate so that you may learn to trust beyond what you perceive. Faith strengthens when sight is limited. That is why, even if you do not see what I prepare, believe me, I am working in silence for you, and very soon the light will burst forth with such force that you will know you were never alone in the shadows. I uphold your faith as a father holds his child in the middle of a rocky path. I do not depart for an instant because I know your steps before you take them. When you stumble, I lift you up. When you cry, I gather your tears like precious pearls. When you think everything is over, I declare that you are only about to begin. Do not allow the voices of hopelessness to silence my promise over you, because in every shadow there is a reminder, I am your eternal light. The faith I place in you is not like a fleeting flame that is extinguished by the wind, but like a fire that grows with every breath of adversity. When the enemy tries to extinguish your trust with lies, my truth will be like a shield protecting your heart. When doubt presents itself as an overwhelming wave, I will rise as a firm rock where nothing can shake you. I call you to believe even when your eyes cannot see, because darkness does not define your destiny. Shadows do not have the last word, my light does. In your deepest night I have already traced the way out, and though you do not yet understand it, you will see that every step was leading you toward a greater purpose. Your faith will not break because I myself sustain it. You do not need to cling in fear because I am the one who clings to you with eternal love. It does not depend on your ability or your mental strength, but on my promise that never fails. The darkness may seem dense, but it will never be eternal, for my light knows no limits. And in the midst of that faith that seems to falter, I am building within you an unshakable trust that will shine as a testimony for others. When silence stretches on and it seems I do not respond, do not forget that even in silence I work. Your faith is being formed to sustain what is coming. You are not walking without meaning, you are being guided step by step toward the victory I have decreed. I do not improvise, I design with precision, and your faith will be perfected in this process. I have seen your nights of tears, your moments of loneliness, and those hours when fear tried to devour you. And I tell you today, I was there. My arms were your shelter even if you did not notice, my hands removed dangers you never imagined, and my heart beat close to yours when you thought you could not go on. Everything you face is not to destroy you, but to show you that my grace always sustains you. So do not fear the darkness anymore. Do not see it as an enemy, but as a stage where my light will manifest with greater glory. I turn the shadows into opportunities to show you that my power has no rival. While others despair, you will see how your faith remains standing, not because of you, but because I sustain it with my unchanging love. Remain confident, for I am your guardian in nights of uncertainty. Every sigh of yours reaches my ear, and every prayer, even if it seems weak, has eternal value before me. I strengthen your faith like an anchor that does not move, and even though the winds of doubt try to shake you, I secure your life in my truth. Darkness cannot extinguish what I myself have ignited in you. Therefore, every time you feel faint, remember, I am still here, firm, unshakable, like a light that never goes out. Your faith will not fall because I uphold it with my eternal word. Those who sow with tears shall reap with joy. Psalm 126 verse 5. Every tear that has run down your face has not been forgotten, for I have gathered them one by one like someone keeping a treasure. Not a drop of your weeping has fallen in vain. All of them have a purpose in my hands. While you think that your tears are a sign of defeat, I am transforming them into seeds of victory. Even though sadness has accompanied you in endless nights, I am working so that this same pain becomes a reason for celebration. When you feel broken and your emotions seem like an overflowing river, I draw near and gather every drop of your affliction. My presence does not ignore your wounds. Rather, it embraces them, heals them, and turns them into testimonies of hope. What today causes you sleeplessness, tomorrow will be the reason for your song. I do not despise your pain. On the contrary, I take it as raw material to reveal in you a greater glory that you did not know. Your heart may be tired of crying, but I assure you that your tears are not wasted. They water the soil of your destiny, they prepare the ground so that abundant fruit may spring forth in your life. Sadness will not be your inheritance, for I myself decree that your weeping will give way to a time of unshakable joy. The seed that germinates in the midst of pain becomes a harvest of gladness when it is in my hands. When you feel that your cry is lost in the silence, remember that I have heard it all. Every sob is a prayer that reaches my heart. I have seen how you have collapsed in secret, how you have carried battles that others do not know. I have not only watched you, I have also been by your side in every moment of anguish. Your tears have wet my feet as I walked with you, and even when you thought you were alone, I remained there holding you up. The enemy wanted to make you believe that your tears were a symbol of weakness, but in my kingdom they are the seed of your strength. He wanted to deceive you by saying that to weep was to fail, but in my hands your weeping is the preparation for your victory. Human weakness is the stage where my power is perfected, and that is why I will transform every groan into a shout of triumph. Do not think that your tears are lost in nothingness. I gather them in my heavenly wineskin, and there they become an eternal memory of your faith in the midst of pain. The day you least expect it, those tears will sprout like flowers in the desert, and where there were only thorns, a garden of hope will be born. For just as the rain waters the earth so that it yields fruit, so your tears water your future in my hands. I comfort you not only by taking away your sadness, but by showing that from it I can extract glory. When you weep because you lost what you loved, I draw near to remind you that there is still abundant life ahead. When you feel that your heart can bear no more, I place upon you a joy that does not depend on circumstances. My plans are not stopped by your brokenness. On the contrary, they take it and turn it into a step toward your victory. Your tears are like a river that cleanses, that washes the wounds of the soul, and I use them to leave your heart prepared to receive my peace. There is no sterile weeping in my presence. Even if the world does not understand it, even if they think you are defeated, I declare over you that every tear has been counted and that from each one a new reason to give thanks will spring forth. Remember that my son also wept. His tears were not a sign of defeat but of deep love. And just as salvation sprang forth from his surrender, from your weeping a renewal will spring that will bear fruit in your story. The pain you live today will not be the end of your story, it will be the starting point of a future where my victory will shine in you with greater strength than ever. Allow me to transform your brokenness into a new song. Allow me to take your weeping and turn it into dancing. I do not keep your tears, I exchange them for comfort, for hope, for lasting joy. For every time you wept, you were sowing in soil that is now ready to yield fruit. Even though your mind may doubt it, I decree that your sowing with tears will soon be a harvest of joy. Do not fear the nights when the weeping seems endless, for I am working in the unseen. Even if you think that no one sees your pain, I have seen it all, and I have determined that from it a powerful testimony will come forth. There will be no wasted tear, there will be no useless sob, for in my purpose everything is transformed into victory. I sustain you even when you feel your faith is fading. I embrace you when no one else does. I take your face, wipe away your tears, and tell you that soon you will laugh with joy. For you are not defeated. You are a sower who will soon see abundant fruits. And on that day you will know that every tear was worth it, for it allowed me to reveal to you that I make all things new. The victory I prepare for you is not like what you imagined. It will not be a superficial victory, but one so profound that it will heal the roots of your heart. It will be a victory that will make you look back and even give thanks for the tears, because in them you will discover that I was always working. That is why, do not fear to weep in my presence, for I do not despise your brokenness. Do not hide your tears thinking they are a sign of weakness, for in my hands they are the beginning of your triumph. I sustain you, I lift you up, and I promise you that your weeping will become a song of victory that many will hear. The day will come when your tears will no longer flow from pain, but from gratitude. You will be moved to see what I have done in you, how I transformed your dark nights into radiant mornings, how I turned your defeats into victories and your losses into new opportunities. On that day you will understand that your story was never marked by weeping, but by the glory that was born from it. I turn your tears into victory because I am faithful to my word. There is no suffering that I cannot transform, no brokenness that I cannot heal. And today I assure you that what you wept in secret will be celebrated in public. Your pain is not your end. Your victory is the destiny I have already prepared for you. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled and do not be afraid. John 14 verse 27. When everything around you seems like an uproar and the voices of fear try to smother your hope, I remain as a gentle whisper that brings calm. I do not come to you with shouts or violence, but with a peace that surpasses all human understanding. Even if the storm does not cease, even if the noises of the world try to deafen you, I deposit in the depths of your being a serenity that no one can steal. My peace is neither fragile nor fleeting. It does not depend on circumstances, nor does it break with the winds of trials. My peace is like a constant river that flows even in the midst of the desert. It is the mantle that covers your heart when the external clamor seems to dominate everything. I place in you a rest that does not come from what is visible, but from my unchanging presence that dwells with you at every moment. When your thoughts race and your heart beats with anxiety, I whisper tenderly, "Here I am." I calm the waves that rise within you, and even though chaos reigns around you, within you I plant a garden of calm. Nothing can extinguish the peace I sow because it does not come from men, but from my spirit who dwells in you. Many seek refuge in fleeting things, in riches, in achievements, in human voices that promise tranquility. But that calm lasts only a moment, like a mirage in the desert. My peace, on the other hand, remains like a firm rock in the midst of the raging sea. It is a peace that stands even when the news is bad, when the doors seem to close, when uncertainty wants to devour you. I do not promise you a world without noise, but a heart where noise has no power. For while outside there are shouts, within you my voice will dwell, soft and clear. While others run in desperation, you will walk with confidence because you will know that I am with you. And that certainty will be your refuge against all fear. Do you remember how the sea raged and the waves threatened to sink the boat? While everyone was afraid, my son slept in peace. That same peace is what I now deposit in you. A calm so deep that it allows you to rest even in the midst of the storm. I invite you to trust, to lean on my faithfulness, because even though the winds do not cease, your heart will remain at peace in my presence. The noise of your worries cannot dominate you when I speak over you. My words are stronger than any fear. I decree serenity where there was anguish, order where there was confusion, silence where there was storm. For my voice is not lost in the clamor, but rises like an eternal melody that fills every corner of your being. You do not need to wait for the world to change to have peace. You do not need circumstances to be perfect. I myself am your peace. While others desperately seek answers, I become the rest your soul longs for. That peace is your inheritance. It is the gift that no one will be able to take from you because it is born of my eternal love. When outside voices try to convince you that you cannot, that you are lost, that everything is over, I rise within you like a serene river that silences the lies. My peace becomes your shield against despair. It is like a wall surrounding your mind and heart, preventing the darts of fear from entering to destroy you. Allow me to fill your inner being with my calm. Allow me to cover your thoughts with my serenity. For I am the source of true peace, the one that is not shaken by the shouts of the enemy nor extinguished by bad news. My peace remains even in the valley of shadow, because I am the guardian of your heart. Do not underestimate the power of my peace. It will make you sleep peacefully in difficult nights. It will give you breath when responsibilities seem overwhelming. It will allow you to smile even when tears want to flow. My peace is a gift that breaks the chains of anxiety and establishes upon you a heavenly order that the world cannot understand. I walk with you in the midst of the uproar, and I show you that nothing happening around you can destroy what I have already established within you. My peace is stronger than the noise, more enduring than the storm, deeper than any worry. That is why, even if everything seems to collapse, your heart will remain firm in me. Many will not understand how you can remain calm when things do not turn out as you expected. But that calm will be a testimony that I live in you. For while others despair, you will know that your trust is not in what you see, but in what I have promised. And that will make your peace shine like a light in the midst of confusion. Do not think that anxiety will prevail. Do not believe that the noise will extinguish your faith. I have decreed over you rest, serenity, and calm. I myself fight against that which seeks to rob you of peace. And every time you linger in my presence, every time you breathe in my love, the noise fades and my voice remains. I am the stillness that surrounds you when the world shouts. I am the gentle breeze that touches your face in the midst of the storm. I am the rock where your heart rests without fear. Do not seek peace in what moves, seek it in me who is unchanging. My peace is your inheritance and no one will be able to take it from you. So do not allow noise to steal your rest. Do not let voices of fear fill your mind. Fix your eyes on me, and you will discover that even on the noisiest day, I can give you calm. For my peace is not an illusion. It is a reality that changes your inner being and sustains your life at all times. I give you peace in the midst of noise, because my love is stronger than the uproar, and my presence is more constant than any storm. And while others drown in confusion, you will remain firm, because in your heart will reign the peace that I myself have planted. The Lord will fight for you, you need only to be still. Exodus 14 verse 14. In every sunrise and in every dark night, I remain steadfast as your defender. There is no army that can surpass my strength, nor enemy that can withstand my power. When adversaries raise their weapons against you, my presence descends as an indestructible shield that covers everything. In the heights and in the depths, in the visible and the hidden, I fight for you with burning zeal. Every battle you face awakens within me a roar that shakes the heavens. I do not allow any opposing force to devour you, because your life carries the seal of my victory. Your steps may tremble, but my walk is firm, and with every movement I tear down strongholds that rise against your destiny. Where you see insurmountable walls, I open paths with power. Where you see vast armies, I scatter them with a breath. I have promised that you will not be abandoned, and I keep my promise. While men trust in their sword and their chariot, your triumph rests in my hand that never trembles. No strategy of the enemy can surprise me, because before his plans existed, I had already traced your way out. And even if the war seems to intensify, in secret I am working out your deliverance. When your strength fails and your knees seem to give way, I lift your spirit with heavenly vigor. I surround you with an army that never sleeps and remains alert in your favor. You are not prey to defeat, because your victory is written on high, in an eternal book that nothing and no one can erase. My angels spread out as invincible warriors, and in every corner of the battle they proclaim that the triumph is decided. The storm may roar, but it cannot silence my voice that declares your victory. The giant may threaten, but he falls under the stone I send with precision. The sea may close before you, but it opens when I stretch out my mighty hand. No obstacle can stop me, and no adversary can resist the force of my presence. Even in the midst of the enemy's camp, I plant a banner of conquest to remind you that this war belongs to me. Not every battle you understand, but every wound becomes a testimony of what I have overcome on your behalf. Pain does not mark your end, but the echo of a triumph being forged in silence. The blows you thought would destroy you become steps toward your victory. Because nothing is wasted in my hands, neither the tear you shed nor the sigh that escaped in the densest night. When you feel darkness surrounding you, I ignite my light as a fire that no one can extinguish. That flame consumes every attempt of your enemy to oppress you. Where he sought chains, there I place freedom. Where he planned defeat, there I prepare celebration. No attack goes unanswered because I fight for you with weapons that are not human but heavenly and eternal. You do not fight against flesh and blood only. Your true war is waged in dimensions your eyes cannot see. But there I manifest with absolute authority. I tear down powers, disarm principalities, and shake thrones that seemed immovable. No power of evil prevails when my voice resounds, for my word is a sword that cuts, and my justice is a shield that protects. Do not forget that every battle has purpose. Nothing is by chance in the field of war. If I allow enemies to rise, it is because I desire to show you that my victories are greater than your fears. If I allow the noise of confrontation to surround you, it is because I want to reveal to you that my peace remains even in the midst of the uproar. If it seems that you are losing, it is because I am preparing a glorious ending where my hand will be exalted above all things. Those who accuse you will be silenced. Those who mocked you will see my glory in you. Those who thought you had fallen forever will witness how I lift you with renewed strength. For I fight not only to defend you, but to publicly display that my power reigns in your life. Your testimony will be a banner that will inspire others to trust in me. Look at the armies that rise against you and understand that none of them can resist me. When they approach with sharpened weapons, I will break them like dry branches. When they advance with arrogance, I will drive them back like dust carried by the wind. When they try to oppress you, I will turn them into a bridge that leads you to new heights. Every attempt of the adversary will be used as a stage to display my greatness. In days of weariness, rest in my warrior arms. You do not need to fight with human strength because my power is enough. Allow my spirit to be the wind that lifts your banner of victory. Allow my presence to be the force that opens closed doors. Allow my name to be the cry that makes your enemies tremble. Your voice united with mine becomes a thunder that disarms armies. In secret I fight for you. When you pray in silence, I move heaven and earth in your favor. When you cry out without words, I understand your language and act with precision. Nothing escapes my sight, and every tear shed in battle becomes a pearl of triumph. Though the fight may be long, it will not be eternal. Though the pain may be strong, it will not be final. Every season of war has an end, and that end is written with the word victory. The enemy tries to frighten you by showing his strength, but he forgets that I already defeated him on the cross. There I sealed the eternal victory that covers you. Every nail, every wound, every drop of blood was a proclamation of triumph. No chain remains after that victory, no condemnation stands, no shadow can endure when the light of the cross shines. Your greatest war has already been won, and every other battle joins that eternal triumph. Do not look at the multitude that rises against you, look at my outstretched arm that never tires. Do not focus on the threats, focus on my promise that never fails. Do not listen to the roars of the enemy, listen to my voice that decrees freedom. While they plan your downfall, I prepare your ascent. While they celebrate your apparent defeat, I design your resurrection in glory. Your victory is not a distant dream, it is a reality written with eternal fire. With every step you take forward, I proclaim it with strength. With every breath you draw, I uphold it with power. Nothing can snatch away what is already sealed in my name. Battles will come, but you will not fear. Enemies will rise, but they will fall. The war will continue, but the outcome is already decided. Your victory is secure. Stand firm, because victory is not a matter of if it will happen, but when you will see it manifested. And I assure you that you will see it because I fight for you in every battle. My God will supply every need of yours according to his riches and glory in Christ Jesus. Philippians 4 verse 19. When you look at the little you have in your hands and feel it is not enough, that is where my power is manifested. I do not determine your future by visible scarcity, but by the abundance that flows from my word. The hunger of your heart, the need at your table, the lack in your pockets. None of this limits what I can do. If I place my breath upon the small, it becomes an inexhaustible spring. When you look at the last measure of flour or the last drop of oil, I turn it into a banquet that does not end. What the world calls insufficiency, in me is transformed into abundance. For my economy does not depend on figures or earthly reserves, but on heavenly riches that never run out. Do not fear tomorrow, for in every dawn I prepare sustenance for you. Just as manna descended from heaven in the wilderness, so I prepare food for your spirit and provision for your daily life. You will lack nothing, for I walk before you as an inexhaustible source. I will not allow the drought to consume you, nor scarcity to steal your hope. I remind you that the little you have is enough when it rests in my power. When you feel that your financial strength is reduced, I open doors you never imagined. I multiply what seemed to be at the limit, and in secret I move hearts and resources to bless you. There is no wall of debt I cannot tear down, no emptiness I cannot fill. My provision is not limited to the material, it reaches every area of your life. In your spirit I give peace, in your emotions I bring rest, on your table I place food, and in your hands I put tools to advance. In man's hands the little runs out, but in my hands the little multiplies. When a seed is placed in the ground, it dies to itself to bear abundant fruit. So it is with everything you entrust to my care. I transform it, renew it, enlarge it. The bread broken in my hands becomes a multitude satisfied. The oil poured out in obedience becomes an unending jar. My miracle of provision did not stop in the past. It remains alive in your present. Do not measure your life by what you see at this moment. The visible is limited, but what I prepare is eternal. In secret I open windows of blessing that overflow upon you. No need will drown you because before you ask, I already know what you need. Before you cry out, I already have the provision prepared. I do not walk behind time, I go ahead of every circumstance. When you arrive at the apparent last opportunity, I am already there waiting with abundance. The desert is not capable of preventing my provision. If in the midst of nothing I brought forth rivers of living water, how will I not open a way in your difficulty? If in aridity I fed multitudes, how will I not supply what is essential in your life? The scarcity you fear becomes a platform for my glory. For the little you have in your pantry, in your account, in your hands, expands under my blessing. The miracle does not arise from the initial amount, but from my word that gives life and multiplies. When you share the little you have, my miracle is activated. For it is not in accumulation that my abundance is manifested, but in confident surrender. Generosity opens doors that greed closes. And every time you give even a portion, you give me the opportunity to show you that nothing in my kingdom is lost. The bread you share returns multiplied. The resource you release becomes an inexhaustible source. Even in times of crisis, when the world announces lack, I decree fullness. Though markets tremble, my provision remains. Though human systems fall, my kingdom stands firm. You are not sustained by what you see, but by what I decree. And I assure you that the essential will not be lacking, for your life is in my hands. I lift your gaze beyond the empty plate, beyond the bag without resources, beyond the fear whispering that you will not make it. I show you tables of abundance prepared even in the presence of your adversaries. I make you sit at banquets where you did not expect an invitation. And in the place where you said, there is nothing, I say, here everything will flourish. The tears you shed for scarcity are not ignored. Each one is gathered as a seed that germinates into abundant provision. Every sigh of worry I transform into a wind of blessing. Nothing you have gone through is wasted. Everything is transformed into an opportunity for my power to be manifested. You will not fear the bill that seems impossible to pay, for I provide at the right moment. You will not fear the empty pantry, for I place bread where there was none. You will not fear the lack of resources for your future, for I multiply the little and turn it into a plentiful harvest. Faith opens the storehouse of my abundance. And every time you trust in me in the midst of scarcity, I pour upon you riches that cannot be measured in coins or numbers. Your resources are not your source. I am your eternal sustainer. You do not depend on contracts, jobs, or businesses as the basis of your security. Those are channels, but I am the source. If one channel closes, I open another wider. If one door is shut, I build a new entrance. You will never lack what is necessary, for my faithfulness is more stable than the foundations of the earth. Those who trust in their own effort grow weary, but those who rest in my provision find peace. You do not need to carry the anxiety of tomorrow, for I have already been in that tomorrow and filled it with provision. Your worry adds nothing, but your trust opens the heavens. Look at the lilies of the field. They do not labor or spin, yet they are clothed with splendor. Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap, yet they are fed every day. How much more will I care for you? When your faith seems to falter because of the little you see, I assure you that the little is enough in my hands. If you place your trust in me, the limited becomes overflowing. It is not the quantity that determines the miracle, but my power working over what is given. With what the world discards, I build banquets of glory. With what seems scarce, I prepare abundant inheritance. I never allow you to be forgotten in your needs. My hand does not grow weary of supplying. My gaze does not turn away from your table. My ear does not ignore your cries. I multiply the little into abundance so that you may remember your life is not sustained by chance, but by a God who opens the heavens in your favor. And so, in the midst of crisis, you will see unexpected provision arise. In the trial, you will see hidden fountains open. In scarcity, you will experience abundance. For my promise is firm. You will not lack what is essential. You will never be left abandoned. You will always be sustained by my hands. I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten, the hopper, the destroyer, and the cutter, my great army which I sent among you. Joel 2 verse 25. What your eyes considered ruin has not escaped my power. That which seemed reduced to ashes becomes fertile ground under my breath. The years you thought wasted are not lost in the void. I gather them and transform them into a testimony of grace. Nothing the enemy tried to steal remains beyond my reach. If destruction raised walls of ruin, I enter with Creator's hands to raise something new, stronger, and more glorious than what existed before. When you look at the rubble of what you once were, you see me rebuilding with columns of hope. What seemed broken I bind with eternal cords. What seemed dead I revive with the breath of life. No ending decreed by darkness remains standing when I decide to restore. Ruin is merely the canvas where I paint greater beauty. Many said you lost too much, that there was no return. But my voice resounds over what was called lost and brings it back to life. Archived dreams, wounded relationships, extinguished hopes. Everything rises again under my touch. It is not human time that restores, but divine power that makes all things new. I turn mourning into dancing, grief into joy, dryness into a fruitful garden. That which you thought would never return, I bring back with increased glory. I do not replicate what was, I transform it into something greater. For I do not repeat copies of the past, but design futures that surpass what you lived. What seemed a bitter end becomes a glorious beginning. What you thought ended in defeat resurges as victory. Take hold of the promise with your hands. Nothing you surrendered in tears was lost. Every seed buried in pain will bloom in abundance. Every broken relationship can be restored under my healing touch. Every closed door becomes an entryway to new paths. Even what you thought was left behind, I use as a foundation to raise what is to come. The enemy celebrated when he destroyed part of your story, but he did not know that I would use it as the stage for restoration. What was broken will become a testimony that gives strength to others. The wound you thought incurable will be healed and used as a banner of hope. The time you thought wasted will be redeemed with multiplied fruit. Do not fear the years consumed, for in an instant I can return what seemed like an eternal loss. Do not worry about the opportunities that slipped away, for I prepare greater opportunities. Where you saw ruin, I prepare a new design. Where you saw emptiness, I place fullness. I do not allow what is mine to remain ruined forever. Remember that my power not only creates out of nothing, it also restores what is broken. I not only open new paths, I also lift what has fallen. I not only multiply the little, I also revive what has dried up. I am a specialist in rebuilding what was thought lost forever. The ashes of your pain are not your final inheritance. With those ashes I make gardens grow. With those remnants I build monuments of glory. With those tears I construct rivers of joy. Nothing is wasted in my hands. The failure that weighed upon you I transform into a stepping stone toward a greater future. Many looked at your story and said there was no solution. But when I intervene, even the witnesses of your ruin become witnesses of your glory. Those who saw your brokenness will see your restoration. Those who heard your weeping will hear your song of victory. What the enemy destroyed in your life, I raise up with new strength. If he uprooted roots, I plant stronger trees. If he tore away your hopes, I place seeds of renewed dreams. If he tried to cut off your purpose, I strengthen it with double anointing. What was lost was not the end, but the preparation for what I am bringing. Do not look at the ruin with despair. See it as the foundation where I will build something better. Do not view the wounds as your defeat. See them as the space where I will place my glory. Your restoration will not be in secret. It will be visible, evident, and undeniable to all. What today seems like a valley of dry bones will rise up as a strong and living army. I restore not only the external but also the internal. Your wounded emotions receive healing balm. Your thoughts trapped in the past are renewed with fresh hope. Your memories burdened with pain are transformed into memories of victory. Nothing remains outside of my restorative work. Body, soul, and spirit are reached by my power. The dreams you buried in silence are not dead. They are asleep, waiting for my word. And today I declare they awaken. The talents you thought had faded will shine again. The broken relationships will find forgiveness and reconciliation. The stolen opportunities will be replaced with greater ones. See how in the depths I am already at work. Where you see no progress, I am laying foundations. Where there is still dust of ruin, I am already placing firm structure. Where there are still tears, I am already painting smiles. Nothing is too late for me, for I control the times and restore even what was declared lost. The life you thought was broken becomes a renewed story. The ministry that seemed extinguished resurges with greater fire. The purpose you thought frustrated blossoms with greater reach. I do not merely return what was lost. I give more than what you had. For when I restore, I add a double portion. Trust in my restoring hands. Do not remain stuck in what you saw ruined, for I am making all things new. And what I raise will be so glorious that you will forget the pain of the loss. The joy will be so abundant that the tears will be left in the past. The victory will be so evident that the defeats will not compare. I restore what you thought was lost, and I raise it with greater glory. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty in God for pulling down strongholds. 2 Corinthians 10 verse 4. I have seen the walls that rise around your life, those barriers that seem indestructible and that isolate you from the freedom I have prepared for you. Some are visible, others rise deep within your mind and heart. Walls of fear, of shame, of guilt, of memories that seem to relentlessly chase you. Heavy chains as well, forged with the iron of oppression, of sin, of words that wounded your soul and left scars you tried to hide. Today I come with irresistible strength to tell you that none of that can withstand my power. When the walls of Jericho stood imposingly before my people, it seemed impossible to break through them. But a cry of faith, accompanied by my presence, brought down in an instant what for generations had been thought invincible. In the same way, there is no wall in your life that can remain standing when I decree your freedom. It does not matter how long you have been surrounded by those barriers. With a breath of my spirit they can collapse in a single moment. The chains you drag, those that have limited your walk, were not designed to stay with you forever. The enemy wanted to make you believe they are part of your destiny, that you must resign yourself to live with them, but my truth is different. No chain can resist when my hand stretches over your life. I do not break with softness nor with weakness. I shatter, pulverize, and smash into pieces everything that tried to imprison you. I know that in many moments you thought oppression was stronger than your desire to be free. You tried to fight with your own strength and fell into weariness. You stood up with determination, but the burden seemed greater than your will. Today I want you to know that it does not depend on your strength but on my power. I fight your battles, I free your steps, I release your heart. Where you feel you cannot move forward, I enter with authority and tear down what seemed unbreakable. There is no spiritual prison so dark that it can resist the light of my glory. There is no emotional jail so locked that it can keep out the breakthrough of my presence. I have seen how your thoughts try to rise like iron bars, reminding you of your past, your mistakes, your falls. But I come to undo every argument that condemns you because I already declared freedom over you. My blood was enough. My sacrifice opened doors that no one can shut. Do not fear the sound of chains falling because sometimes freedom is frightening. You have been surrounded by walls for so long that you got used to them. But I did not call you to live locked up. I called you to walk in open spaces, in wide territories where your soul can breathe. I show you new paths. I give you horizons you never imagined. I teach you that every chain broken today makes way for a greater destiny. Many walls were raised by words you received in childhood, by wounds others left. And those chains have wanted to repeat to you that you are worthless, that you cannot, that you will never be free. But I tear down the lie and replace it with my truth. You are loved, you are chosen, you are called to live in fullness. What was once a stronghold of pain will now be an altar of victory. What was once a symbol of defeat will now be a sign of my power manifested in you. Remember when Peter was in prison, bound with chains and guarded by soldiers? No one thought there was a way out. But in the middle of the night, I sent my angel and the chains fell off by themselves without human effort. The doors opened and he walked out free. So it will be with you. Chains that seemed impossible to break will fall without explanation because I intervene beyond logic. Do not think that your struggle is in vain. Every tear, every cry, every silence filled with pain I have heard. And now I tell you, I have come to tear down what oppresses you. The spiritual oppression that steals your peace, the fears that disguise themselves as inner voices, the habits that seemed indestructible, everything that has tried to dominate you meets the fire of my power. When I enter, the atmosphere changes. The walls tremble, the chains creak, the shackles cannot withstand my presence. I am freedom, and where I dwell there is no slavery. My words are a hammer that breaks the rock, a sword that pierces the chains, a wind that makes the walls fall. It does not matter how high the wall rises, my power is higher. It does not matter how thick the chain is, my fire melts it. It does not matter how many years you have lived in that prison, I can open the doors for you today. What seemed like your definitive story, I transform into a new beginning. I lead you out of the confinement. I take you by the hand and bring you into freedom. And when you look back, you will see rubble, broken chains, fallen walls, and you will know they will never rise against you again. Because what I tear down cannot be rebuilt by the enemy. Rise up and walk in the freedom I give you. Stretch out your hands and feel how they are no longer tied. Breathe deeply, for there are no longer walls closing in the air around you. Look around you. Where there was oppression, now there is space to grow. Where there were chains, now there are wings to fly. Live knowing that every step you take is on ground conquered by my victory. Do not fear the memory of the prison, for it is only a memory of a past that no longer has authority over you. Walk with the certainty that no bondage will ever hold you again, because I tore down what stopped you and broke what oppressed you. And when others ask you how you managed to come out, when they marvel to see that you no longer carry the chains that once bound you, you will be able to say with confidence, "The power of God tore down my walls and broke my chains." Thus I declare to you, walk in freedom, live in fullness, celebrate the victory. Because no chain can withstand my power, no wall can remain standing before my glory, and no force can take away the freedom I give you today. The path of the righteous is like the morning light, shining ever brighter till the full day. Proverbs 4 verse 18. I have contemplated every step of your life, and even though the past days have been filled with tears, trials, and silences that seemed endless, I have not stopped writing your story with an eternal purpose. Nothing you have gone through has been in vain, because even in the deepest pain I have been working in the hidden places to forge in you the strength you will need for what is to come. Your present does not define your destiny, because what I prepare for you extends beyond your current limits. You have felt that the nights were too long, that the wind struck too hard, that losses left you empty and directionless. Yet, within what you considered ruins, I have been planting seeds. And those seeds will bear fruit in their time, because what I design cannot be destroyed by storms. I have reserved for you a tomorrow of hope, a path where the light will grow until it dispels every shadow that tried to surround you. Do not fix your gaze solely on what was, nor cling to the memories of what you lost. The pain of the past tried to convince you that there was nothing left to fight for, but today I want to remind you that my plan always surpasses your pain. I did not call you to live trapped in nostalgia, but to walk toward a destiny you have not yet seen, but that is already prepared. Think of an architect who draws blueprints before building a palace. Every detail, every space, every measurement has a purpose. That is how I have designed your life, not with improvisation but with precision. The trials you faced were part of the foundation, but what I am building on you will be a testimony of my faithfulness. You will not end in ruins because my design always concludes in fullness. When the people of Israel were captive in Babylon, they thought the end had come, that there would be no restoration. But in the midst of exile, I spoke of plans for good and not for evil, of a future and a hope. So I say to you, even when circumstances try to shout otherwise, your story does not end in defeat. I have prepared for you paths you do not yet know, doors you have not yet seen open, victories you have not yet experienced. Every tear you shed has watered the ground where a new beginning will sprout. Do not be surprised when you see life emerge in places where there was once only desert. It is not coincidence. It is the fulfillment of what I planned for you before you were born. My word is seed, and where I sow it, it always bears fruit. Pain tried to take hope from you, but I am restoring it myself. I am showing you that the end of a season is not the end of your story. Even when one door closed, another opens before you with greater glory. What you lost is not comparable to what I will give in the next chapters of your life. Do not think you are forgotten or set aside. Your life is part of a greater design, where every line and every stroke comes together to form an eternal destiny. Even if you now see loose pieces, in perfect timing you will understand that everything was coming together for good. What seemed like delay was preparation. What seemed like silence was construction. What seemed like loss was the space necessary for something new to flourish. I write the future in the midst of your present. I bring light where you thought there would only be shadow. I am leading you from scarcity to abundance, from loneliness to fullness, from doubt to certainty. Nothing I have planned for you can be stopped by the darkness that tried to break your faith. Remember that dawn always comes after the darkest night. And so it is with you. Even when it seems that darkness has dominated, in reality the dawn is already announcing itself. The dawn of my plan for your life rises, and it will not be a fleeting light, but one that grows until the day is perfect. What I prepare is not merely relief for your pain, but a glorious future that will surpass what you imagine. I will make your wounds scars that tell a story of victory. I will make your tears fountains of joy. I will make your losses the ground on which I will build the new. For I do not merely repair the broken, I transform what was ruined into something better than it was before. The hope I give you is not an empty dream, but a certainty grounded in my faithfulness. Even when the world around tries to sow fear and despair, I remain steadfast in my promise. Nothing I prepare can be frustrated because my plans do not depend on circumstances, but on my eternal will. Your future is held in my hands. I do not leave it to chance, I do not entrust it to luck. I have traced a path that no one can erase. And even if you stumble along the way, I myself will lift you so that you continue moving forward. You will not remain in the valley of shadows, because I have already marked for you the summit where my glory shines. Lift your gaze beyond the immediate. The present pain is not your final destination. The present silence is not the closing of your story. I am preparing for you a tomorrow full of life, hope, and purpose. Even when today seems empty, tomorrow is already full of what I have promised. Walk with the certainty that the best is yet to come. Abandon the thought that it is all over, because in my design there is always continuity, there are always new beginnings. I open paths in the desert, I make rivers spring in dry land, I lift hope in weary hearts. The future I prepare for you is full of light. And when you experience it, you will understand that every wound, every weight, every loss had a greater purpose. Your pain will not be remembered as the end, but as the door that opened a time of glory. Your story will not close with tears, but with victory. Trust, for it is already written. What is coming will be greater than what has passed. Your tomorrow will shine brighter than your yesterday. And even when the world tells you there is no way out, I show you the horizon where everything makes sense. I lead you toward a future of hope, and nothing can prevent you from living it. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Philippians 4 verse 13. Today I close with you a cycle of revelation, hope, restoration, and miracles, because it is not only about what I can do, but about what I already am in your life. The present and active miracle that transforms every corner of your story. What was impossibility becomes possibility. What was sorrow becomes song. What was defeat becomes victory. Every moment of your life that seemed ordinary, limited, or even marked by darkness is now the stage of my powerful intervention. There is no place in your past where my hand has not touched. There is no wound in your soul that cannot be healed. There is no mistake, fall, or loss that cannot be transformed into victory. Everything that seems disorder, failure, or ruin is reorganized under my power and becomes evidence of my glory. I do not just perform miracles. I am the miracle that remains in you, and by my presence, your story ceases to be ordinary and becomes an eternal testimony. Every tear you shed, every sleepless night, every fear that paralyzed you, now transforms into strength. Every failed attempt, every closed door, every dream you thought lost, all have a purpose and unify in the miracle I carry within your life. There is no coincidence, no accident. Everything is part of the design where I act as the transforming factor that turns the ordinary into extraordinary, the broken into whole, the uncertain into certain. Look at the places where you felt nothing could change. Look at the situations that seemed definitive. All of that bows before my power. The barriers raised by fear, by the enemy, or by injustice break in an instant when I reveal my glory. What once seemed impossible is now an example of what I can do. What seemed out of your reach is now tangible proof that I dwell in your life, accomplishing what no one else could achieve. It is not a miracle that happens outside and then touches you. I dwell in your being and transform from within. My presence turns stagnant water into a river, arid land into bloom, darkness into light. Where there was fear, I place confidence. Where there was pain, I place joy. Where there was hopelessness, I place certainty. The life that seemed marked by limitations now unfolds in fullness, because I do not act merely as an external force, but as the essence of the miracle that sustains your being. The enemies of your joy, the obstacles that tried to halt your progress, the problems that seemed impossible to solve, all meet in me an unbreakable limit. Chains are broken, walls fall, sorrow dissipates, poverty turns into abundance, sickness yields. It is not only that I perform a miracle for you, I am the miracle within you that ensures the transformation is complete and lasting. When you think of what you believed would never change, remember that my presence activates the impossible. What was dry is filled with life. What was empty is filled with fullness. What was broken aligns into perfection. My intervention is not temporary, it is permanent, eternal, and complete. Every area of your life touched by my power remains transformed, because I do not just perform miracles. I am the miracle itself that remains in you. In the moment when hope seemed minimal, when human efforts were exhausted, when doors were closed and paths blocked, my strength manifested. I am the miracle that does not depend on circumstances but transforms them. Where human logic says, there is no way out, I open a path. Where human vision cannot reach, I deploy infinite possibilities. What seemed finite expands, what seemed small multiplies, what seemed lost returns in glory. There is no area of your life beyond my influence. Your dreams, your relationships, your talents, your health, your destiny, all are under my care and transformation. What once caused pain, shame, or doubt now becomes a platform of blessing, because my presence within you ensures nothing is lost and everything is transformed. My miracle is not superficial. It touches the deep, renews the inner, and makes visible the invisible. When you look at your complete story from your beginnings to this present, you will see how every episode that seemed ordinary or painful was being woven by my hands to culminate in something glorious. Every challenge you faced had a purpose in my plan, to prepare the stage for my miracle to manifest with splendor. Everything that seemed fragmented, uncertain, or incomplete now unifies under my intervention, showing that everything was destined to be transformed. Do not fear the memories of the past because I am in control. Do not cling to worries about the future because it is already secured in my hands. My miracle does not depend on time or circumstances, but on my infinite power working in you and through you. Every detail of your life, even that which you did not understand, now finds meaning and purpose in the work I accomplish within you. When your heart fills with gratitude, you will understand that my presence not only changes situations but transforms the heart that experiences them. What was once fear is now confidence. What was once sorrow is now joy. What was once doubt is now certainty. Every emotion, every thought, every action aligns with the transformation I carry out in your life. The testimonies emerging from your story are not only for you but for all who witness my work. Every visible and invisible miracle in your life reveals my glory. Every victory you experience speaks of my faithfulness. Every change in your heart and circumstances shows that I do not only perform miracles. I am the miracle that remains, sustains, and ensures that your story becomes an eternal example of victory and transformation. Close your eyes and feel my presence within you. Where there was weakness, there is now strength. Where there was fear, there is now security. Where there was emptiness, there is now fullness. My miracle does not only manifest in outcomes but in the transformation it performs within you. You are a living testimony of my power, because I dwell in you and my work cannot be stopped. Now, every chapter of your life shines with the radiance of what I have done, am doing, and will continue doing. The story that seemed ordinary transforms into an epic of triumph. The difficulties that seemed final become preludes to victory. Every area touched by my presence shows that my miracle is real, tangible, and eternal. Walk with the certainty that every step you take is guided by the miracle dwelling in you. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to manifest my glory. Every action you perform aligns with the power I have deposited in your being. And when you look back, you will see that your entire story, even the moments that seemed impossible, was transformed by my miracle, and that I myself was the source of every change, every victory, and every restoration. Today concludes this cycle of revelation, but your story of miracles does not end. Continue growing, advancing, and celebrating, because my presence in you ensures that the extraordinary is now your everyday reality. I do not just perform miracles. I am the miracle that transforms your story, elevates you, crowns you, and guarantees that victory is complete, glorious, and eternal.